In this video, I want to talk about the 5 biggest mistakes that INFPs make when trying to grow. I'll tell you my own experiences as an INFP myself, and by the end of this, you'll know the 5 different mistakes, the challenges that we face, why they come about because of your personality type. It's not your fault, it's just how we're structured, and what you can do about them. My name's Matt Sherman. Welcome to Geek Psychology. I make a lot of videos that focus on INFPs and self-development, mainly because I wanted to help myself, and I found ways to help myself, and I started sharing that, and other people started responding to that, and more INFPs have gathered to the channel, and so I'm going to continue to support INFPs, as well as other types too, every once in a while. So let's talk about the 5 different ways that INFPs sabotage our self-development. The first one is avoiding confrontation. Our dominant function, introverted feeling, wants people to be happy and wants people to be themselves. And so often we would like to allow people the space to create their own life. And if somebody asserts that something is very important to them and they get really heated up about it, at least me personally, I'm like, okay, if you feel that passionate about it, that you are creating this drama or you're raising your voice or you're getting heated up or whatever it is, then it's probably really important to you. So I'll just back down. I'll back off a bit. And this shying away from conflict, I think creates a lot of instances in our life where we don't test our mettle. We don't see who we are, what we're made of. And it can lead to more and more avoidance and more stagnation, where we're just not taking actions in our life because we are avoiding conflict, whether it's avoiding conflict with another person or avoiding internal conflict or getting the message from the outer world that we are not good enough or developed enough or strong enough, whatever that message that we don't want to hear is. Avoiding that. Playing it safe. Dipping too much into our introverted sensing, the function that is about recalling the past and implementing what worked in the past. And often for us, it's focusing on what didn't work. And improving our relationship with that guardian character of ourselves is really important. So one of the best things that I've learned, and it's still, it's a big struggle for me too. Again, especially as an Enneagram 9, where we don't want heavy emotions. We don't want strong emotions. We don't, and anger is one of those that if I get angry, I don't even know what's going to happen. So it's repressing and suppressing that, narcotizing ourselves so that we don't feel those strong, scary emotions. But one thing that has been helpful is just seeing it as sharing ideas. I lived with an ESTJ and an INFJ couple. They've been married for many, many years now. But they always seem to fight. And I called them out on it. I was like, you guys you're always fighting and I hate it. And they're like, no, we're just sharing our ideas passionately. And it helps bring them together. That's not my way of interacting with conflict, but that is how some people see it. So maybe it's not that confrontation is the problem, but the perspective of seeing it as something to be avoided, whereas it could be something that teaches you what is important to you and other people. You very quickly find what your values are when somebody brushes up against them in a negative way. The next one is overthinking every decision. So one of our strengths is extroverted intuition, the explorer, as a character within our psyche's questing party, the one that just wants to see all the different possibilities, all the different opportunities, and play in idea space. But because of that, sometimes we can get a bit distracted. We can overthink. We can see so many different possibilities that it's hard to choose one. And if we do choose one, and we start walking down that path, then we feel that we are stuck to it, that we have to go that direction, that we can no longer change directions. And so we sit there I always imagine the metaphor, and I've heard this a bunch of times from other INFP clients, but like there's like some sort of liquid and then maybe a stone or a couple stones, and we're just standing there like looking out and trying to figure out which step to take. We're unsure which is the right, well, we know which is the right step and which is the step left for us to take, but it becomes difficult if we're just thinking about it, you know? Once we start taking actions, then things become clearer. So that is one tip or bit of advice, is to take more actions and see how it is, like get actual real world feedback. And then you can proceed from there. Another one is to compress your timelines. So I just opened up the Evolve community for Geek Psychology. It's a monthly subscription. I saw a note today in my phone from 3 years ago planning out how to do this community. And I completely forgot about it. And I have a bunch of other renditions of that note though. And basically what I ended up creating was that. And I could have done that years ago. The dynamics would have been different, of course, but I just was overthinking it so much that I distracted myself perhaps or forgot about it. Don't do that, because it delays progress in your life and success. Give yourself permission to fail gloriously. The next one is not setting clear goals. INFPs often struggle with setting concrete or clear, complete goals. One issue that comes up is like, in coaching sessions, I'm like, okay, how will you know when you've got it? What is your evidence procedure? What is what will tell you that you've succeeded? And we're always like, I'll feel it. I'll just know. I said it too. I'm sure I say it all the time, but it's like, it's hard to calibrate an internal sensation, a kinesthetic sensation for goal completion. Now you can do it as a check to say like, is this aligned with me? Do I like this? Is this a good decision? Does it feel right or feel good? But when we're setting goals, it's really helpful to get clear on what we can measure. How will we know in the sensory world that we've completed it or that we're making progress on it? In order to do this, you can go through my Glower framework. This is something that's also within the Evolve community. You get free access to it. Well, bonus access to it if you're in the community. And it's the main framework that we follow. But Glower, Glower. Okay, G, goal. Get really, really clear, crystal clear on your goal. L is location. Like, how are things right now? Where are you? If you know where you are and where you want to go, it's a lot easier to get there. So you got to get clear about how things are in your current life. O, obstacles. What are the obstacles that are in the way? W, why? Why is it really, really, really important, necessary for you to do this? E, effects. What are the effects of you completing or not completing the goal? Is it going to help you in your relationships, your life? Is it ecologically sound and good for you? Or is it going to cause a bunch of chaos and problems? Every single goal that you complete has likely both of those. So it's important to be aware of them. And our resources, what are the resources that you can rely on? The people, technology, expertise that will help you succeed in completing your goal. That helps you get really clear on setting your goals so that you can make progress on them. And you can feel better about your place in the world. Two more. This is something that I often run into. The next one is neglecting self-care. It's very difficult for me to calibrate if I'm doing too much or too little. And I like for many, many years, many decades, I'm 40 now, so I think all through my 20s as well, it was like, I don't have enough energy to do this. I feel too exhausted all the time. Part of that was my diet and drinking and going out and friends and stuff like that. Not enough sleep. But also it was that I wasn't sure, that I could recover. And that is an important aspect of growth, is knowing that you will be okay, that you can recover, that tomorrow's another day. You can pick yourself back up, get back on track, whatever your metaphor is, and go in the direction that you want to go. But for me, a lot of times, introverted sensing, tertiary function is your body as well, like physical comfort, being aware of physical stability, let's call it. I can go a very long time without eating or without noticing that my knee is like really, really in pain or inflamed or something like that. And then eventually I'll be like, oh, ouch. Yeah, I've been sitting down all day for the past couple weeks, and I didn't even realize it. So that's something that is a problem. Also, this wasn't an issue before when I was younger, but it is now that I'm more focused and on purpose. Extroverted thinking, our inferior function, the commander. It's about strategizing, setting goals, managing resources, delegating tasks, those kind of things. I've improved a lot, but it's still low level compared to the soul introverted feeling. Sometimes we don't know how big of a goal we're setting for ourselves, how much energy is required, how much time, money, other resources will it take in order to succeed. And so we can accidentally push ourselves too much and not reflect on that. If we get, maybe in the grip, I think it's more of a positive thing than the normal version of being in grip, as it's called. That's when you're just like stuck in your inferior function. But it's something that is important to pay attention to. Self-care, brush your teeth, take a shower, go for a walk, drink water, those kind of things. Pay attention to them, because if you are not healthy, then you cannot grow, you cannot complete your goals. And the last one is comparing ourselves to others. A lot of INFPs look at everybody else's success and just wish that we could get there. Especially Enneagram 4s, we can get really stuck in envy. And I'm not a 4, I'm a 9, but getting stuck in envy is not a good place to be when you're constantly comparing yourself to other people and not noticing that they have worked on themselves in certain ways for a very long time, right? You're not looking at them in the same place. They're not at the starting point, right? They've been working on it for a long time. They're further along. So comparing yourself to somebody who's further along is silly if it's done not in a beneficial way. You can look at it and say, wow, that'd be great. You're like, I'm going to get there. Yeah, I'm going to work towards that. That's way different than being like, wow, I'll never get that. Right? That's not a helpful voice to listen to or to cultivate. One thing that we can do is compare ourselves to the previous version of ourselves. How far have we come? And if you don't like the previous version of yourself, and you don't like the current one, well then start anew and be like, okay, I'm going to, work on myself today, and then look back tomorrow. How did I do? What was successful? What did I like? What didn't I like? And calibrate from there, and then move on to the next day and the next one. From, you do that next, then 1 week later, you're going to look back and be like, wow, I feel good about myself. A month later, even better, years will pass by and you won't recognize yourself anymore because you've shown up more often every day, taking actions that are aligned with who you are, what feels good, and who you want to become in the world. And that's a great feeling. And that'll help you stay inspired and continue growing. So those are the 5 biggest mistakes that INFPs make when trying to grow. What do you think? Have you experienced those? Do you have other ones that maybe I didn't include? Let me know. If you're new to this channel, go to inowfeelpositive.com, get the free 5-day INFP personality type tutorial. It'll get you started understanding your personality type so you can wake up happy, feeling good, and being inspired to continue to grow. Good luck, have fun. Peace.